Strike action was averted at the National Petroleum Corporation today after the National Union of Public Workers and the Barbados Workers Union met with management there. The workers opted not to work as the meeting was ongoing. Industrial Relations Officer with the NUPW, Wayne Walren, said members of the technical department stopped work because the corporation had outsourced excavation work to a private company over the weekend. He explained that was usually the responsibility of technical crews who also responded to emergency calls. Describing discussions as cordial, he said both sides were able to quickly resolve the matter.
What we did when we visited the workers this morning is to also speak to management to get their version of the state of events. The management indicated that it was just an emergency situation they needed to respond to, and there was a judgment call made in the circumstances. However, the meeting would have ended on a satisfactory note where it was agreed that workers will continue to respond to these emergencies in terms of responding to leaks, and that if there are any deviation, there is a need to deviate from that arrangement, workers would be consulted. So there will be collaboration in terms of any decision in the future if it will be contracted out.
Several local employers have not been able to get their paperwork in order by the October 15th deadline as required by the new employment rights legislation, and they're therefore not compliant with the law. This revelation from Minister of Labour, Social Security and Human Resource Development, Dr. Esther Bayasuku, who says the employers are asking for more time. She made the revelation during a special discussion on the Employment Rights Act at the Ellerton Wesleyan Holiness Church. The minister said every employee should by now have received a statement of particulars from their employer, which should outline their conditions of work. If they have not received such a document, then the employer is, in her words, lagging.
They've asked us for time, but we now have to trigger a process to give them more time because the 6 months was written in law. So it's not just I could say, well, okay, take another 6 months. It was actually written in law, so we actually have to go back to Parliament for employers to get more time. So right now, employers are actually breaking the law because they have not complied in the 6 months.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Joy St. John has lauded a plan of action by the Pan-American Health Organization to ensure most hospitals in the region are generally safe. She made the comments this morning at the PAHO offices at an application of hospitals safety index training course for evaluators at Darrells Road. Dr. St. John says the project, developed by a team of experts, aims at ensuring safe hospitals in the region. The project is being supported by PAHO with the full backing of the European Commission.
The index provides a rapid assessment of the level of safety of various aspects of a hospital structure and functioning. It provides guidance in the selection of priorities for the development of a safety improvement program to ensure that a hospital will remain accessible, functioning at maximum capacity, and in its same infrastructure during and immediately following the impact of a natural hazard.
PAHO WHO representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Dr. Ernest Tate, says institutions throughout the region have been implementing major structural improvements to mitigate against disasters.
When we look at the data that's available in the sub-region, more than 3/4 of our institutions, when they are assessed, fall into category B on the safety index score. And that says that the current safety level is such that both patients, hospital staff are at risk in a post-disaster situation.
If the tourism minister has his way, the financial service sector would have a bigger representation on the Tourism Development Corporation's board. Richard Seeley says membership of the organization needs to be increased so that the level of capitalization can rise as well. Mr. Seeley was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Tourism Development Corporation at the Accra Beach Hotel.
I know financial intermediaries are conspicuously absent terms of being members of TDC in a bigger way. And I would love to see more of them. So the next time you have that meeting and that floor of the central bank, where the Bankers Association meet, let's try and get more of them involved, and the rest of the, as I said, that community, the insurance companies and so on. We should have more of these companies making major contributions so that the capital base can be increased.
Mr. Seeley says government is also looking for ways to make membership in the TDC more attractive.
Now that we are in fact looking at our incentive regime in terms of attracting investment to this sector, this is a good time now to even take a fresh guard with respect to the inducements for persons to come on board to become either members or sponsors of the TDC. And therefore, I think that, the time is right now that we can really take the work of the TDC to even another level.
Fresh efforts are underway to break down the remaining barriers hindering free movement of CARICOM nationals, especially those seeking employment opportunities. The new project, led by the Caribbean Policy Development Center, started yesterday with a series of meetings right here in Barbados, dubbed Making CSME Work for Artisans and Domestics. The project will also visit Guyana, Jamaica, St. Kitts, Nevis, and Trinidad and Tobago. Executive Director Chantal Monroe-Knight says the two-day meeting will examine the challenges experienced so far in introducing the free movement regime and how best to remove the remaining obstacles.
And our aim here is to try to, again, work with the key players to see how can we ensure that that regime is set up to facilitate them so that they can enjoy their rights. Importantly as well, we want a process in which the people who actually have to be able to use the regime also get a say in designing the regime. And I think that is innovative. That we are saying that domestics and artisans have a voice and that they should be heard in the context of how they should be facilitated to be able to move. The regime has to be able to make sense. It has to be user-friendly.
A local attorney at law is expected to appear in the District A Magistrate Court tomorrow, charged with theft and money laundering. He is 53-year-old Philip Vernon Nichols of Dover Mews, Dover Christchurch. Police say Nichols, a former secretary of the Barbados Cricket Association, was arrested and charged after investigations by members of the fraud squad. He is accused of theft of $674,172 belonging to a client and of money laundering related to that figure. Lawmen say these charges arose out of an investigation pertaining to the sale of real estate on behalf of the client. Refunds for the Rihanna Diamonds World Tour Barbados start from tomorrow. This announcement came from Live Nation Global Touring. People who purchase their tickets in cash can obtain a refund in person upon presentation of the original ticket. This can be done from tomorrow until Saturday, November 2nd, between the hours of 10 in the morning and 6 in the evening at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre, 2 Mile Hill. People who purchase their tickets via credit card at the Welch's Plaza box office may obtain their refund in person at the Premier Event Services offices for the amount to be credited back to their card. There is no cash refund provided for tickets purchased by credit card. Fans who ordered online at www.ticketmaster.com will receive instructions via email. Government will be moving to make it easier for prospective homeowners. Though not going into detail on his plans for his ministry, Minister of Housing and Lands Dennis Kelman, during a recent DLP St. Michael meeting, revealed some of what's in store.
We will be building starter houses up. We will build the foundation and then we will build up on them so that when you come to add on, you will just have to put on the size and do what you have to do. This is the Democratic Labour Party, and that is the difference between the DLP and the BLP.
Mr. Kelman defended government's housing program and criticized the opposition, saying the homes being constructed are too small.
Not too far from Lancaster is something called Bakers. I want you to go Bakers and measure the houses at Bakers, and then come to Lancaster and measure the houses and tell me if all small houses are not bigger than the Barbados Labour Party large houses. Because if they call our houses small, then it means their houses have to be large. And if our houses are small and larger than theirs, you tell me what happened. One day we'll tell you, you can move in a bed, you can move in a refrigerator in our houses.
A local human resource professional believes Barbados is at a point in its development where continuous quality enhancement of educational programs is critical. This from Deputy Chairman of the Barbados Accreditation Council, Kenneth Walters. With this in mind, he says the BAC will be pursuing the development of a national qualifications framework. The intention is to ensure a higher quality of education and training is afforded to all levels of students and trainees. His comments came earlier today during the official opening of a workshop on preparing for program approval at the Radisson Aquatica Resort.
It is anticipated that the NQF will make it easier for a learner to enter the education system and to progress within it. Improve the quality of education and training in Barbados. Expand access to learning and work opportunities for all, both regionally and extra-regionally. Enable learners to develop their full potential and thereby support the social and economic development of the country as a whole. Facilitate the mapping and inclusion of qualifications such as the Caribbean vocational qualifications, national vocational qualifications within the education system, and make the education system more demand-focused.
Mr. Walters says developments in technology and easy access to the internet have given rise to many educational institutions offering fake documents and credentials. He adds that the external and internal quality assurance undertaken by the BAC is important for Barbados to stay on track with its development plans.
As outlined in the Barbados Human Resource Development HRD Strategy 2011-2016, emphasis will be placed on increasing the standardization and quality assurance of educational programs, promoting lifelong learning, development of a seamless education and training system, bridging the gap between academic and technical and vocational education training, providing multiple entry and exit points, providing second chance education opportunities for young people, and improve adult and continuing education.
The Barbados Union of Teachers continues to receive complaints about the way teachers dress, but the biggest concern seems to be body art. That's according to President Pedro Shepherd, who said the union cannot dictate what individuals wear, but the Education Act speaks clearly about dressing soberly.
The Barbados Union of Teachers, we are not the employers, but as the professional body looking after the interests of teachers and the interests, I believe, of the nation's children, we are bombarded on a daily basis with persons speaking about teachers and tattoos. And some of the tattoos in visible places, like on the hand and the legs, and so on, shoulders, neck, and so on. That is probably an issue for the ministry to deal with, but just to say that people are watching us, and if we want to say that we are professionals, then we have to bear these things in mind.
Mr. Shepherd was speaking during a special reception at the union's Merry Hill headquarters last night as part of activities for Teachers Week. At that reception, 8 teachers were recognized for their contribution to the profession. If Barbadians want to continue boasting of their high literacy rate, they must each see reading as their business. Principal of the Belmont Primary School, Pamela Eiffel, made this comment as she was speaking yesterday at the start of activities to mark Reading Week. More in this report. Teachers and parents need to be involved in a child's reading, and so the Belmont Primary is having an entire week of activities which will engage children and parents. Principal Pamela Eiffel says on Wednesday, parents can look forward to strategies to help with their children's reading by an education officer. She also said that students will interact with storytellers and be involved in a character parade where they will get to wear a costume depicting their favorite storybook character. Ms. Eiffel explains that it is a challenge to get children to love reading.
I recognize that some of them don't have the basics. One of the greatest challenges that we have is that our children, they know letter sounds, but in terms of being able to put those songs together to make words, to blend songs, to segment, which is really the essence of reading, that's where the challenge lies.
The principal also called for more boy-friendly books to increase their motivation to read.
We need to find material that will challenge them, but things that they are very interested in. They like to read about vehicles and strange animals and court cases in the newspaper. Those are the kind of things that excite the boys. And so the challenge is to find material that is not only age appropriate, but that is of great interest to them as well. Because motivation plays a very, very important part in getting children to want to read in the first place.
Ms. Eiffel adds that the community needs to become more involved by offering books, activities or interactive software to schools to help them overcome the challenges with reading. Meantime, reading teacher Alicia Paris said parents need to help children visualize what they're reading, and she offers a tip to solve this problem.
You don't even have to be in bed at night. When you are walking along the streets, point to pictures. What is that, a shop? What is that you see in the supermarket? Let them from young. What do you see in the supermarket? Candy, cashier, cash register. All this helps to build a child's vocabulary from young. Learning experiences, take the children out, interact with them, discuss the things that they are seeing. Don't take for granted that they're seeing the things, so okay, they know what they are.
Parents have also been urged to set aside 15 to 20 minutes a day to help their children read. Barbadian churches are being advised to strengthen links with businesses and key institutions in their communities. The plea from Reverend Joel Cumberbatch, who says the common approach can help address some of the ills faced in the society. Reverend Cumberbatch made the comment as he marked a milestone in religious ministry. Sean Farrell reports.
Reverend Joel Cumberbatch is celebrating 25 years of pastoral service at the White Park Wesleyan Holiness Church and 33 years in the ministry. But the Thanksgiving service was also about his work outside the church, including educating young minds as a teacher at Harrison College and related support for organizations like the Barbados Defense Force.
Reverend Cumberbatch was assigned to the Barbados Coast Guard, as they said, 25 years ago. And then he became a member of the chaplaincy team in the early 1990s. For the Barbados Coast Guard, he's been a bedrock on which our unit has stood over the years and has always approached the duties at the Barbados Coast Guard that one can best describe as fatherly. He's everything to everyone, every time, day or night, good or inclement weather. We cannot miss a celebration of such significance. And in fact, I am firmly of the view that not only should he be awarded an appropriate commendation for his work with the Barbados Coast Guard, but he should also be recommended for a national award.
Reverend Cumberbatch says it's important for the church to develop linkages with the business community and other key institutions.
People have their own views about what church life is all about. A lot of people still think that church is about just coming to church and raising your hand and singing and shouting and having a very good time. Even though that is important, as far as I'm concerned, that is a very small percentage of what is really required. But we have sought under God to spread and expand the influence of the church in ways and in institutions where that influence will matter most.
In his sermon, Reverend Dr. Aldine Charles complained that some people feel a pastor has a two-day job, but really do not understand their work.
He visits the sick. He marries the people. He buries the dead. Labor to console those who sorrow and stay sweet when chided for not doing his duty. And he understands, that is the pastor, that the church is where they are hatch and match and dispatch.
Reverend Cumberbatch was praised by other members of the Wesleyan group as well as Anglican priest Reverend Arrington Messiah. Sean Farrell, CBC News.